And now on 2GB, from Canberra, the man in the middle, Senator Nick Xenophon.
Good afternoon, Nick. You there?
Yes, I am. I'm here, loud and clear. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Good.
Are you Nick Xenophon?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Do you feel like Nick Xenophon? You're actually, probably, when you think about it, a thorn in the Prime Minister's side like you've never been before.
But it's not party political.
I know that, but
whoever's the Prime Minister, if it's Labor, Liberal, colour thumpy, it might just be a pain to all of them.
Yeah.
The Libs hated me when I was when they were in government, when I was in state politics, and Labor hated me just as much, if not more. So
yeah, but let me sum this up for our listeners. We've got another trigger for an election. You blokes have voted down the government's private health insurance rebate. And then, as we discussed last week, you hate Kevin's health reform as he tucks into the GST revenue. On parental leave, you prefer Tony Abbott's scheme over Kevin's. You're a pain in the bum.
That's not quite right. Look, in terms of the health reform, I need more details on that, and I said I'd have an open mind. So I haven't knocked it on the head, but I said I want more details. I want to make sure that we actually get some good health outcomes out of it. In terms of parental leave, Tony Abbott's scheme is much more generous, but I'm also a realist and a pragmatist. I think that we can actually improve on the government scheme by, say, increasing it to 26 weeks instead of 18, adding superannuation to the minimum wage. So it's a case of, pun intended, I don't want to throw the baby leave out with the bathwater.
Yeah. Okay, to the story of the day, though. You're quite unhappy with the major parties blocking this move for an inquiry into the Church of Scientology. Why have they done that?
Well, look, they've given various reasons, and look, the public can make their own decision on this, but the reasons given are that there's going to be, we've got the Henry Tax Review, looking at the tax-exempt status of some of these organisations, that it would be seen as some sort of a fight against religious, some sort of witch hunt against religious freedom, which is an absolute nonsense. All I was trying to do was to give a voice to the people, the many people that have come forward to me with their experiences with the Church of Scientology. And you may have seen Four Corners just a few nights ago, a very disturbing allegation, very disturbing report, very similar to the allegations that people have made to me.
Families ripped apart.
Families ripped apart, coerced abortions, people losing massive amounts of money for these courses into enlightenment that the church is pushing. A whole range of things that are and child labour laws. One young woman that I've met, she was up 72 hours straight without any sleep to try for her work with the church as a 15-year-old. Now, I would have thought this is something that Kevin Rudd and Tony Abbott would want an inquiry into. Yeah. I've been given all these weaselly excuses from both sides in relation to this, and my message to the major parties and to the people that have come forward with these serious allegations is that I want to keep trying. Next week, the Senate sits again. I'm going to put up another motion, and I'm going to do it every week that the Senate sits until my colleagues from the major parties see sense. And by the way, the Greens, good on them, supported this.
Are they cowards?
Well, I've said it's cowardly. I mean, this is walking away from people with very serious allegations. Now, let's put this in perspective. This is about a Senate inquiry. This is not about the law automatically changing. No. This is not about forcing change on anyone. It's about having an orderly process, a Senate inquiry where the victims can come forward, the Church of Scientology can come forward, experts can come forward, and we can sort this out. And as to whether we need to adopt the public benefit test, which they've had in the UK for many years, which basically says if you want to get tax-exempt status, you need to show that overall what you do is a public benefit. And I reckon that's pretty reasonable. Yeah,
this Eric Abetz, who I usually agree with, the Liberal senator, he says the Senate was not the right place to hear their stories. What? He is urging the victims here, average normal people, to find a massive amount of money to take it to the Supreme Court, is he?
No, look, I've got a lot of respect for Eric Abetz. I have a very good working relationship with him, but on this, with respect to him, he's wrong. He's basically saying that this is a matter for the police. Well, sure, victims have gone to the police, and I believe the police has interviewed some of them, but this relates to actual changes to tax laws so that Australian taxpayers aren't subsidising an organisation in circumstances where it shouldn't be happening. It's not about religious freedom. It's about fairness. I mean, I know Corey Bernardi, a Liberal senator from South Australia, good bloke. He started likening, referring to the Greens in the context of Nazi Germany, which is just way over the top. It was just ridiculous.
Yeah. Okay, well, you can only keep at it. Can we help? I guess we can, because we've got an audience here.
Yeah, you've got a big audience there, and I think it's a matter of your listeners contacting their local member of parliament from both sides, Liberal and Labor members, and saying, what's going on here? Why won't you have an inquiry? And I just want to put this in perspective. They're saying we should be using the Senate's time to have an inquiry. Now, if I can point out that the Senate has had an inquiry into whether Tasmania should have an AFL footy team, even though we have no federal powers in relation to that. We've had an inquiry into long-range weather forecasting, a Senate inquiry, but we can't have an inquiry about very serious allegations that involve the taxpayer purse in a sense because of these tax breaks that are given. I mean, give me a break.
No, those are telling comparisons. They are telling comparisons. They should hold their heads in shame.
Well, it's not over. It's not over. And, if you ever have Kevin Rudd or Tony Abbott on, it'd be great if you could ask them about this.
Okay, will do. Don't hold your breath on Kevin Rudd, by the way. But that's all good. I'll let you get back and fight the good fight. Thank you for your time this afternoon.
Thanks for yours.
All right, there you go. Senator Nick Xenophon at our usual Thursday time. How could they knock back that when you think about, as Nick pointed out, some of these balmy Senate inquiries that have gone on over the past 3 years? Like fair income.